One cold December night in 1996, a 12-year-old girl went missing from her New Jersey home. Heavily pregnant and just weeks from her due date, nobody could understand why the young girl would leave home in the middle of the night or why anybody would want to harm her. The case on the surface seems troubling enough, but digging deeper into the circumstances of the girl's life revealed even more concerning information, including a strict cult-like church, an overbearing tyrant aunt, and several family members who seemed desperate to keep the truth hidden. On December 15th, 1996, 12-year-old Celina Mays attended church with her family. Later that evening, she ate ice cream with her loved ones at the shared home on Crestville Drive in Willingboro, New Jersey. Afterwards, at around 11 p.m., she put her dishes in the sink and kissed her family members good night before retreating to bed. Her family initially noted in the days before she vanished, nothing seemed amiss. Celina's mood was stable and her behavior was perfectly normal. But her stepmother, Yvette Mays, would later recall that Celina had said, "Thanks for everything," before heading to bed. In hindsight, she realized that this may have been the 12-year-old's way of saying goodbye. The following morning, Celina's 4-year-old stepsister, Nori Mays, was sent to wake her for breakfast. When she didn't respond, the little girl approached the bed and pulled back the covers, surprised to find pillows neatly arranged beneath the sheets, made it look like there was a figure sleeping beneath them. If Celina had gone voluntarily, she'd taken nothing with her. Her bag, prenatal vitamins, and CD player had all been left behind. By all accounts, she had left with the clothing on her back, a red coat, and nothing more. Celina has never been seen or heard from again. She was reported missing a day later on December 17th, but it would be several more days before the police were informed that the 12-year-old they were looking for was heavily pregnant. At the time she went missing, Celina was 9 months pregnant. Her unborn baby was due around December 29th, just 2 weeks after she went missing. Her family stressed that it was vital that she be found, as she would likely need to deliver the baby by C-section. According to reports, the 12-year-old would not reveal the identity of the baby's father, though she allegedly told her father that her boyfriend was 16 years old and not a member of her church. It's possible she decided not to reveal his name because she knew he would get in trouble. The baby's father could be charged with rape since Celina was a child when she became pregnant. Celina's father, CJ, recalled that the 12-year-old had become upset when she learned that tests done on the baby could help identify the father. Some family members later theorized that Celina had left of her own volition in order to avoid the baby being tested, and thus revealing the identity of its parent. Despite the fact that Celina was just 12 and that having a baby so young was a huge risk for her health, her family objected to the idea of getting an abortion when she first discovered she was pregnant because of their religion. CJ was employed as an accountant and bookkeeper for the Gospel of Christ Ministry, a small Pentecostal church based in Mount Holly, New Jersey, where his sister, Sarita Smith, was a pastor, and Celina was raised as a member. Celina was also homeschooled and instilled with strict religious values throughout her childhood, as were her cousins and step-siblings, while many of the adults worked at the church. The congregation reportedly consisted of around 50 to 60 members, many of them extended families. It was common practice in the church for members to live on church property in large groups. Celina herself lived with about 15 other people at her 4-bedroom Willingboro residence. The church was insular and sheltered. Children were not allowed to mingle with the outside world and gain all their knowledge about life from the carefully curated and deeply religious words approved by Sarita. In 1991, however, the Gospel of Christ was removed as a member church of Christ Gospel Ministries International in Jeffersonville, Indiana, after an investigation was done into its pastor, and it was found that Sarita ran the church with an authoritarian style. A spokesperson later stated that, quote, "Their philosophy of church leadership and her management of financial matters is incompatible with our philosophy and policies." Interestingly, the church also had numerous complaints from former members made against it during the 90s. Many claimed it was utilizing brainwashing techniques on its congregation. Some members of the church were physically forcibly removed by family members who felt that they were in too deep. Sarita, though, shot back at these accusations by alleging that upset and angry former church members had kidnapped Celina and were hiding her from her family. According to the Burlington County Times, Sarita rarely spoke to the police following the disappearance of her niece. She also denied police requests that would allow them to search the church and the family home. Furthermore, a warrant to search Celina's family residence was denied after a judge ruled that the Mays could be considered victims. The family had reportedly alleged that the police had been biased against them during an earlier interview. CJ's side of the family, including Sarita, cooperated very little with police at the time, as did their church congregation. Sarita has since died, and after CJ passed away in 2019, the Mays moved out of the family home from which Celina disappeared. It's unclear where they now live. The church building where the Gospel of Christ ministry once has been abandoned for over 10 years. One resident of Willingboro recalled that following Celina's disappearance, the entire town talked about it. Many parents warned their children to stay away from the church. Further accusations at the time of the disappearance came from Celina's mother's side of the family. Celina's mother, Lynn Marie Vital, died of a brain aneurysm in 1994. Following her death, her family attempted to gain custody of Celina, citing numerous incidents of drug and domestic abuse CJ had carried out against Lynn before her death. CJ, for his part, argued by this time he had found faith and was a new man. He was ultimately given custody of his daughter, and the pair moved to Willingboro. After Celina went missing, her maternal relatives accused the Mays of hiding her. Meanwhile, the Mays accused the Vital family of taking her back to Florida or Michigan, where they were originally from, as they still wanted custody of the young girl. Nori Mays, a 4-year-old stepsister of Celina, who discovered that she was missing, recalled that nobody talked about her 12-year-old stepsister after she vanished. When she was just 8, Nori began asking questions, but answers were often vague and evasive. When the media approached the family for comment, Sarita would often stop members of the family from talking. Nori remembered that one time she was told that Celina was gone because Celina slept around, got pregnant, and ran away. Later in 2024, Nori spoke with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and discussed the tight grasp her Aunt Sarita had on the family. She stated that Sarita ran the church like a cult and that many of the family members involved in it were stuck with nowhere to go. Quote, "My aunt dictated my parents' marriage and everyone else's and their kids. I do not judge my dad or my mom for their inability to act out against the church. They were afraid, but they did everything they could to help Celina." Nori also claimed that she once heard a theory that she hopes is true, that Celina's mother, Lynn, before her death, organized for a woman to help the young girl escape the church and move her somewhere where she would never be found. In the weeks following Celina's disappearance, the police issued flyers, spoke with the local community, and combed through nearby areas for any clues that would lead them to the 12-year-old. Around the time of her due date, they began contacting hospitals, hoping the young girl had been admitted and was giving birth in care professionals. But nobody had seen Celina, and her whereabouts remained unknown. On January 25, 1997, the owner of a Sizzler's restaurant in Howell told police that he believed he'd seen Celina dining as part of a group. He described her as no longer being pregnant and said that she was in the company of several people, including a pastor and a photographer. Although initially this seemed like a promising lead, the police eventually determined that the girl seen by the restaurant owner was not Celina. Over 250 leads have sprung up over the years, but none have panned out. Some of Celina's family members believe it is very unlikely that she is still alive. Her maternal aunt, Cindy Cram, told the Burlington County Times, "My feeling about it right away was she's not alive. Sometimes you go with your gut feeling, and I still don't feel that she was alive. I think they shut her up. The they in question is implied to be the Mays family and their church." An aunt of Celina's believed that the father of her child was an unidentified individual the young girl had met while out skating in Camden County, New Jersey. Though this seems odd given that Celina's life was sheltered and controlled, it is difficult to think when she was at the time unsupervised to spend with a boy or a man. Rumors swirled at the time that one of Celina's own cousins, Sean Smith, the 21-year-old son of Sarita, was responsible for abusing and impregnating her. He was reportedly interviewed multiple times after the disappearance, but denied knowing where she was or being involved in her disappearance. A girl who was just a few years older than Celina at the time of her disappearance recalled that she had been repeatedly sexually assaulted by Sean as a minor and claimed that Celina confessed the same thing had happened to her shortly before she fell pregnant. Furthermore, in 1998, Sean was arrested after sexually assaulting two girls from the ages of 13 and 14. The assaults began in 92 and 93 respectively. He ultimately fathered 7 children by 4 different women, most of whom were church members. Unfortunately, Sean is now deceased, having passed away in 2020 at the age of 46, which leaves many questions unanswered. To this day, the identity of the father of Celina's child is still unknown, as is what happened to the baby and Celina herself following her disappearance. One relative suggested that the baby's father killed her to stop his identity from being discovered. Another speculated that she was the victim of an amateur abortion gone wrong. Over the last several decades, Celina's case file has often switched hands between detectives. Willingboro detective Monica Pogorzelski has said that the police remain determined to see the case through, quote, "This isn't just something that got pushed aside. It's been continually investigated. And whenever leads come up, we follow and go, and just nothing turns up of any evidentiary purposes to go further." In 2021, the Willingboro Police Department revealed a renewed effort to solve the case, noting, quote, "In 1996, we had limited resources to communicate with the public and acquire details regarding missing persons. Social media has evolved greatly and can now reach a wide variety of people quickly through many platforms. We are using social media to distribute information about Celina to raise awareness of her case. We are hopeful that social media will be a beneficial tool in finding new information about the disappearance of Celina Mays. In the years since she went missing, there have been several sightings of Celina in locations such as Lacey Township and Hopewell Township, both in New Jersey, but they have never been confirmed. Following her death, Celina's mother, Lynn, left her a large life insurance policy, which she will now be more than old enough to collect if she is still alive. 12-year-old Celina Jeanette Mays was last seen on the evening of December 15th, 1996 at her home in Crestview Drive in Willingboro, New Jersey. She is described as a mixed-race girl who is half African-American and half white with brown eyes and long black curly hair. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5 foot tall, around 120 pounds, and also heavily pregnant. She was possibly wearing a long red coat when she went missing, as this item of clothing was gone from her room. If Celina is still alive, she will be 40 years old, and her baby will be 27. If you have any information about Celina's case, you can contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678. Alternatively, you can call the Willingboro Police Department at 609-877-3001. Please leave a comment down below with your own thoughts and speculations. And remember to like this video and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching. Stay alert, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.